Hi. So, this video is a bit of a turn for me. Um, I was actually asked that maybe I should broaden my topics a little bit. What should you ask for? um, so that's the first disclaimer. Second disclaimer is what I'm going to be talking about. It is possible that there are people out there watching this video that are going to feel like I'm calling them out. And that's not what I'm doing. What I'm doing is, and I've said this, there's usually some topic that just keeps coming up and coming up and coming up. And that's what I talk about this week. Um, and so if you haven't said anything to me, then you're not the reason. I'm not just pulling this out. Um, that means that there's somebody who has been complaining specifically about this topic to me. And so let's give it a shot. Um, and it's not a personality disorder, it's a Myers-Briggs personality type. They're different. How they're different is if you have a personality disorder, it is because it's a result of trauma or abuse that you have altered your personality in order to protect yourself. Myers-Briggs is kind of innate. But I mean, it's kind of similar, but kind of not. Myers-Briggs is there are 4 different categories of how people sort of just their gut response, how they interact in the world, and it is innate. And um, so I don't know. It might be obvious. I think it's obvious to me. It's obvious to other people when they get to know me, and it's obvious to people who have studied at all what the Myers-Briggs are. I'm going to run through it really quick. I'm an INFJ. This is probably why I keep getting this issue that keeps popping up all week. The first, the I, stands for introversion versus extroversion, which is basically how are you energized. I mean, I can be around people, and this is not avoidant personality disorder. This is not how I'm interacting with people. It's like, do I get energy from being around people or do I not? And for me to recharge and get ready, I've got to be by myself. That is introversion. The second is the difference between sensing or intuition. What are you going to go with? Are you going to go with what you see, or are you going to go with your gut? I'm definitely a go with my gut type situation. I pay very close attention that even if everything looks perfect, if my spidey senses are tingling, pay attention to that. Okay, and again, how is that different from a personality disorder where you're being protected? Well, the personality disorder sort of dictates how you are actually interacting. It's not, this is literally how do you function in the world. The next one is the dichotomy, which again, I don't really believe in the dichotomy. I think there's definitely somewhere in between. This is a problem with Myers-Briggs. It doesn't give you any sort of subtlety with that whatsoever. Is thinking or feeling, and it's the same sort of thing. And those sort of seem contradictory to me, thinking or feeling. But yes, the feeling is where I go with. Am I so, super logical where I'm going to think through everything, or am I going to think about how do I feel about something? You know what I mean? And so that's what I do. I go with my feelings. And last is judging versus perceiving, which is, again, I'm like, why would those 2 middle ones sort of contradict each other? These last 2, thinking and judging, like, obviously. But also, I mean, if you've seen my videos, I say over and over and over again that everybody's constantly always judging. You know what? Apparently there are people that are not judging and adding their own spin on things, that they are just, acknowledging these are facts of what's happening, and this is what's happening. They don't add their own spin to it. amazed at that. I can't even conceptualize. Again, this is why I'm one way, not the other. Also, I'm really sorry. I think the camera's kind of shaky. Would you expect anything less from me? Okay, so that's what the overall Myers-Briggs type sort of with super quick overview. The thing that keeps coming up is people who have a job and are put in a supervisory position, and they're having problems as a person who is an INFJ with being a supervisor. That I can so relate to. I personally have been asked to be a supervisor multiple times and have turned it down every time. I mean, and actually, this is not true. I was a supervisor, and you want to know what I did? I did all of my supervisees' job for them. They had nothing left to do. They were literally sitting around, and they're like, "Oh my God, my boss did it all for me." I was put in a position where I had a person who was working with me, and I worked them out of a job, and I kind of felt bad for it that I basically made them not have a job anymore because I did all the work for them. Classic. I just it's not for me, and I can see why somebody would want to have the position. They think, okay, well, I've been in I've been doing this job for so long, and it's like the natural progression to become a supervisor, and also you get more perks for it and everything else, but it is not a good fit. And okay, that's great, but if you want to do it in everything else, what is the problem? Okay, the problem is that there are skills that you need to do the job as the supervisor. You know, you need to have a certain skill set in order to do your job, but also you need soft skills. Soft skills are things that are not attached directly to the job. And this is where you run into the problem if you're an INFJ. Generally, the soft skills that you need are communication skills. Okay, well, if you are introverted, that is difficult. Second, you need a certain amount of emotional intelligence. You need to have problem-solving skills. You need to be adaptable. And you need a certain amount of self-awareness. And believe it or not, all of those things are sort of counter to somebody who has an INFJ personality type. And it's like, what? Okay. How to know that you're having issues with those things? First of all, if you have been advised to be nicer, that's what they're talking about. That's what they're talking about. They're talking about all these things. Because the thing is, when you're an INFJ and you are a supervisor, first of all, you don't want to do things like small talk. No, wrong. That's just stupid and a waste of time. And as a supervisor, you're like, you don't waste time, you get to the point, which means you come off as extremely blunt. And that is so off-putting to your, I keep wanting to say underlings. There we go. This is the INFJ. I mean, it's just like, okay, yes, I'm at this level, you are at lower level. Yeah, you're my underlings. Oh my God. I mean, that does not fly if you're a supervisor you've got to be actually part of a team. Even though you're the supervisor, you still have to be part of a team. And you have to make your employees feel like they are part of the team. So if you're aware of, the thing is this, it feels like just stupid small talk and a waste of time to do sort of team building type activities, it feels like a complete waste of time. It feels like, okay, I'm talking about dumb, stupid stuff and who really cares? There are multiple ways of um, of having the dumb conversations. You don't have to talk about what did you watch on TV. You know what? The people I work with, almost none of them waste time watching TV. Almost none of them. Actually, I think I'm more than a lot of people that I work with. Like, I have a sports team that I follow annually, and I feel like a complete idiot for even having the one. I mean, but my coworkers, um, no, nope, and they definitely none of them talk about it. Um, so like thinking, oh, these people, they're so average. They're going to have stupid things that they're going to want to talk about is not necessarily the truth. Okay, there's number one. That's the self-awareness thing. Is that you are judging people by your assumption about what they're going to want to talk about. Okay, don't do that. The bluntness, I'm sort of going around in circles here, but the bluntness I'm talking about, like as a supervisor to say, this is what you need to do. I run into that even not as a supervisor, like, and people get to know me and they're like, okay, wait, I'm not simply being a bitch, which is what it comes off as, like, it's not that, and when you have new people come in, they're like, oh, no, it's not that. It's that I'm cutting to the cutting to the whatever that phrase is. I don't know why it's out of my head. Um, I'm just like, get rid of the middle fluff. This is how it is, and you know what? I will tell people. I'll tell them point blank, especially if it's new, if it's a new person. I was like, listen, again, this is the self-awareness thing, and this is the communication thing. Tell people, listen, I might come off as this. This is not what I'm saying. I'm not actually criticizing you. I'm just trying not to waste your time. And if you have a difficulty with this, if I've said something and I've been basically like too short with what I'm describing and I'm like missing steps that you would like to need, please point them out to me. If you've got something going on that I am unaware of that would make whatever I'm asking of you to do not feasible, or I've got other things that I think are a priority, definitely talk with me and let me know. I don't know everything. I might seem like I know everything. I might seem like I think I know everything. It's not true. It's like I'm trying to make a decision based on what I'm aware of. If I'm not aware of everything, let me know. This is, it might seem like I'm coming off and saying, this is it, do this, period. But no, actually, I'm not going to be like that. I'm not inflexible at all. Again, did I put that on my list? No. Adaptability. Yes. Adaptability and flexibility. It's not that I'm not that way. I'm just sort of coming off that way because I'm trying not to waste your time. And if you make sure that everybody you work with knows this, knows what your motivation is, because you're assuming, you're assuming that people are going to be able to figure that out from what you're talking about. No. And you just say, listen, this is how I am. I might come off as blunt. I'm just trying to be as succinct as possible. I'm trying not to waste your time. I'm trying not to get in your way. I'm not trying not to, do all kinds of, extra meetings and stuff, because everybody hates that and it's a waste of time. So I am trying to get out of your hair and out of your way as much as possible, It might be that you actually need a little bit more. No problem. Just tell me. You know, I might be making an assumption about something and I don't know everything that's going on. Perfectly fine to come back and say, please, or you don't even have to say please, because most of the time I'm not going to say please. You know, there's also this going on. I mean, then, and actually, I've run into that in a work situation where I'm just like, hey, what about this? And then actually, my manager is sort of like, excuse me, what? You know, and I'm just like, did you notice this? Because there was this other thing going on. And then, you know, when they get like their little hackles down, they're like, oh, yeah, you look at that. There are these other situations going on. And yeah, I know a manager can't have every single thought going on at the same time and know everything that's happening. I'm aware of that. So I'll point out, hey, what about this? Did you see this too? And, um, you know, people will adapt when they are aware of what your motivation is. This is key. You have to let people know, why are you talking like this? Why are you acting like this? It's obvious to you because you know, hey, this is how I am, this is how I operate in the world. It's not small talk to tell people and give them a heads up about how you are a supervisor. And you know what? Most people, once they see what you're doing and they're not taking it as a personal attack, because that's the thing, people are like, oh my God, why? Why are you doing this? Um, am I just so awful that you can't even say, hey, how you doing? I'd like to have a talk with you about this. And even that's too fast. Hey, how you doing? You know, how's work going? Um, let's have some talk. I can't even come up with it. Okay. I mean, I'm sitting here trying to give advice and I cannot even come up with sort of a way of not being completely in somebody's face and blunt about it. Um, and so just to say straight out, okay, listen, hi, um, right off the bat, I don't want to get in your way and I don't want to waste your time. Um, I have some notes for you. I'd like to hear what you have to say about these things. I'd like to hear, do you have any input on how to integrate them? Um, is there a time frame that's good for you? Don't assume that people are also going to be like wanting to dawdle and waste time. I know this is a management thing. Management, for some reason, always thinks that people are just wanting to screw around and get away with doing as little as possible. Well, you were in that position once too. Did you just not really want to do anything? Did you want to waste time at work? I mean, watching people have stupid conversations where, you know, they're talking about nothing sometimes makes you think, oh, they just want to waste their time here, and who wants to do that? I want to get through everything as quickly as possible. In fact, they are probably um, having conversations with each other, trying to, you know, it seems like it's just chit chat, but they really are either they're trying to de-stress so that they can focus, or they are trying to come up with, you know, problem solving amongst each other, something like that, that sort of thing. So don't knock it until you try it. Okay, I've been yapping for a while. Um, but yeah, that is what I would give as advice if you are INFJ and you have been told basically you're not nice enough as a manager and you're getting all this stress about it. That's how to do it. It's not toning down your bluntness per se. It is the disclaimers that I gave at the beginning of this video. That's what they need. You need to communicate with people what your communication style is and let them know that I'm not just trying to, you know, basically be a bitch about it, pick your gender, That's not what the point is. The point is I don't want to waste your time. The point is everybody hates meetings, so I'm trying to cut the time out and not make you sit through a stupid meeting that everybody hates, but rather this, and that when I'm telling you something, it is not an like an order. It is the start of a conversation, and that if there's something I don't know about, fill me in because I don't know everything, and that we are a team. That's how you do it. And then you're not nice. You are instead being aware of the time that your employees, you don't want to waste their time, and so you'll get a reputation for somebody who is blunt but caring about their employees. And that is a soft skill. I mean, but again, that is not the default. You are not the default. If you are an INFJ, you are uncommon. You know this. And there's nothing wrong with the way you are. But other people are going to assume that you're not INFJ, that you're some other type, and therefore the way you communicate means that you're mad at them, as opposed to what it actually is. So just tell people how you communicate, what your communication style is, what it means, why you are the way you are. The more you can do this, so be self-aware of, this is why I'm doing this, okay? This is why, and I'm assuming that the reason why you might be coming off as blunt is because you don't want to waste your time. I'm assuming that that's how I am. I'm just like, hey, can you do this for me? Period. No, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah. No, I'm just like, hey, can you do this for me? Give and name people outright. Can you do this? And sometimes they're like, and I'm like, okay. And then if they ask why or why me, I might say, I recognize you have this skill, and therefore I think that you'd be really good at doing this particular thing, and so I'm asking you to do it. The thing is that a lot of other people who have a different personality type are going to start with that, and then they're going to ask. Okay, you are just going to blurt it right out. Why waste all this time? And if you tell them, okay, ask me why I'm asking you to do this, I will tell you. Chances are very good that it's not like I'm trying to give you some terrible thing. It's more like, I know you're the best for the job, and so I'm going to ask you to do this. Eventually, your employees will understand that's your default. You know who's best for the job, and therefore you're going to ask them to do this. And if they say, okay, I would love to do this for you, but I got 4 other things, I'm really swamped, could somebody else do it? Or should I reprioritize? You maybe don't know, so it's not dictation, drop everything and do this thing, but rather, hey, I see this, and let's have a communication. Is this going to work for you? If it's not going to work for you, tell me. If it's going to work for you, go ahead and do it, and let's not waste the time. And if you tell people this is the way I am, and you show people this is the way you are, and you're open and receptive to when people come back and have like, oh wait, but what about this? And they're like, oh, you're right. Okay, either keep doing what you were doing, or I'm going to reassign this to the next best person, or okay, but let's do this one first, and then you can go back. And if you're open to having that sort of flexibility, you're not going to be accused of not being nice. It's just, you got to have that communication. You got to tell people, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing, because you are not the average. And people are going to assume that you're just like the average Joe, and therefore you're like, don't like them or something like that. No, you're just cutting to the point. I think that's what I was trying to come up with before. I don't even know if that's the right phrase. Anyway, I'm rambling. Here we go. But that is my advice. If you have been accused as a supervisor at work of not being nice, this is how you get around it. Good luck. Let me know if you have any further ideas about me talking about this. Or if you have anything you want to say that's like, yeah, girl, you don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, thank you. Bye.